Hey yo, man, check it out. Um, Peace and love. Leg, head. You already know what it is. I ain't gonna hold y'all. I ain't gonna hold y'all too long with this. Honestly, I struggle with even trying to even speak on this because obviously, for obvious reasons, you know what I'm saying? Initially, there's nothing to really talk about. You just devastated, right? You hear this news and it's just like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I just don't understand this, Then days pass, you kind of sitting back, you're looking, you're trying to gather information. So let me get to what I'm getting to here. The NTSB released a preliminary report in regards to the fatal, devastating helicopter crash that, destroyed a legacy in more than one way, man. John, Alyssa, Carrie Altabelli, Sarah Peyton Chester, Christina Mauser, and obviously Kobe and Gianna Bryant, and the pilot, Ara Zobayan, I believe his name was, as well, who also has family, I'm sure, and people who love and care about him, Obviously, prayers and condolences to the family. That goes without saying, but let's get to this report, right? They released the preliminary yesterday, February 7th, right? So there's nothing to really get to. The report doesn't say any fucking thing. It doesn't give me anything. There's no concrete, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like, obviously, I'm not an expert. I'm not an aviation expert. I don't know anything about flying, airplanes, helicopters, anything like this. The only flying I've ever done has been in like Grand Theft Auto in a video game. And honestly, I can't even fly the helicopter in a video game. You know what I'm saying? So I never was really a fan of helicopters. It just looks like it is just anything that defies the law of gravity. I'm not really too fond on. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a fan of. So, obviously, Kobe Bryant, you know what I'm saying? I didn't even realize the man been using helicopters for damn near his whole career, going to practice and basically going back and forth and using the helicopter to travel. Everybody's seen the clip at this point where he was speaking on the reason for him, the reason why he even purchased a helicopter in the first place. It was basically to be, for family purposes, I want to be more family oriented, so this would help me maneuver around the city without having to deal with the elements of traffic and things like this. Very understandable. Kobe obviously is a wealthy man, and I'm gonna get a helicopter. Cool. That's normal. People flying helicopters every day. It's completely normal, right? So fast forward, obviously this accident happens January 26th, and man, the fucking literally, it was just like instant blackout mode, right? I didn't know what the fuck to do or how to even like process this shit. It was just so sudden and out of nowhere. And yeah, Sunday morning, that was crazy. And the report comes out, no engine failure, right? Let's just get to the helicopter now, right? You don't want to be negative, but it's kind of just like, bruh, I got so many questions. I just want to know this. I've never heard of, I did a little bit of research over this past week, 2 weeks. Just different helicopter crashes and different causes and things that would cause helicopters to crash. What I will say is I've not seen or found or heard of any helicopter ever crashing in this way, in the way that this shit crashed, without any sort of malfunction to the helicopter itself, right? So obviously we're not dealing with the helicopter was fine. It was just for whatever reason the pilot, made this misstep or this error while in mid-air going at 184 miles per hour. So let me look at the report, right? Because I'm freestyling right now. I already read it, but I'm just gonna, it's just certain parts. I need you to relax. You talking over me, sis. Hold on. Fuck the fight right now. Hold on. Alright. So, what we want to get to here? I don't really want to read the whole thing. This is only the preliminary anyway. A witness, da-da-da-da-da. It's just a bunch of witness pictures and shit. And they showing you fog and oh yeah, that was the main thing, right? So apparently it was supposed to be a lot of fog in the sky that morning. From what I'm understanding, it's been reported that LAPD had to ground their helicopters because of of the conditions, as far as the fog. But for whatever reason, this pilot felt like, nah, I do this. I'm about that life. I've been flying for how many ever years, and it ain't nothing but a little fog. We don't know what the conversation was, obviously, before they went up in the air. But I'm assuming he was pretty confident that he would be able to, take this travel and make it to the destination safely. Otherwise, why would you be up there in the first place, right? So a loss on this magnitude obviously is going to send shockwaves through people around the world, right? Obviously, Kobe was a global icon and shit like that, right? So, naturally, people are going to come to the internet and vent, and, you're going to have your theories over here and your truth over here and bullshit over here. You got to really just kind of, filter the shit that you take in when these kind of things happen, basically, And I don't want to necessarily get to any of the theories that people have been spewing, because I definitely have mine. I'm talking about off top. I already kind of had my shit figured out as far as my opinion of what I felt like was going on with the situation. No, I didn't, because I didn't even realize his daughter passed at first, to be honest. So really, the first thing I said was, damn. Because all I could keep thinking about was the images of him and his daughter. We just recently was, seeing him at the Lakers games and things like that in the front row. And him coaching her and trying to teach her, on the sideline. So the first thing that popped in my head was, damn, his daughter ain't going to be able to hoop no more. As far as, mentally, she's not going to be able to recover from this. Not realizing that there was a whole bunch of people on the helicopter. So, yeah, it was that news and then it was that news. So it's kind of like you got hit 2 or 3 times that day. VFR, IFR. So apparently VFR stands for Visual Flight Rules. I don't care. Then IFR is supposed to be instrument. So I guess VFR is you're supposed to have some type of visual of some type of shit that's around. Clearly he didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? The nigga went to the, he crashed, bro, at 184. So what they're trying to say is spatial disorientation. I heard that a lot over the past 2 weeks. Spatial disorientation. A lot of investigators, they kind of, that's the direction that they seem to be leaning in, as far as what they could even, what else could it have been, basically, is basically what they're saying. And I done watched 1,000 videos, man. I tried to gather as much information as I could. The lady who initially came out into the press conference, I guess she's a representative of the NTSB investigative team. So basically what they was explaining was they were giving you, she basically was showing different incidents where helicopters crashed and basically showing you the causes and effects, right? Like what was the reason. And basically there's certain things that they tried to implement that weren't necessarily, they didn't follow these rules and regulations, and basically what she's explaining is that was the reason for these crashes. So what this helicopter didn't have, according to them, is something called a TAW, which is a terrain awareness, some shit about terrain, basically something to let you know that you're about to crash the fucking helicopter into something, right? That's basically what I gathered from that, you know what I'm saying? So he didn't have that on the helicopter, right? So my question is this: you're an experienced pilot. Anything with you that you're experienced in, I'm not an experienced pilot, but I'm experienced in other things. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like when you have a certain amount of experience doing something, it's kind of like if you're driving, right? You're not gonna go on a slippery, wet road and do 100 and then try to swerve into lanes as you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just certain things you should know. You should assume maybe danger is here if I do this. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like the fact that this is an experienced pilot, I don't want to blame anybody. It's kind of hard to really even point a finger at anybody at this point. There's nothing to really, what's done is done. We can't get back. You know what I'm saying? These families are, this ain't even about me. Like I said, I'm going to pick up and keep on moving at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate though, and we got to acknowledge it. because we don't want to see this. You know, it's not inspiring. And I think that's the part that kills people the most, because it's like when you look at Kobe, man, and all the inspiration that you know what I'm saying, in some way, shape, or form that you receive from this nigga at some point, from this brother. Can't even call him the N-word right now. You know what I'm saying? That don't feel right. Over the years, it's just like, it's like, damn. And he clearly had, he still was going. You know what I'm saying? That's the other part. It's like, fuck. It seemed like he just found his niche post-basketball. Like, literally, he just kind of got into his suit and tie. I'm at the game, front row, Eagles hat on. You see it. Philly, nigga. What's up? You know what I'm saying? He ain't say that, but anybody passes away, you kind of like, a microscope is on them at that point, you know, and you start looking into other things. Kobe was out here on his shit, man. Like, obviously Kobe is Kobe, you know what I'm saying, but I didn't realize how much investments and fucking just how many different bags this nigga was getting to, bro. That's the other part that killed me. I just found out recently that the man had stock in the UFC. I fucking love the UFC. I watch this shit religiously. I'm studying this shit. This nigga had stock in this shit. I never even heard him. I never seen him at a fight, bro. And not only stock, he was like a partial investor, like an owner. They had just cashed out, according to Dana White, a week prior to the accident. He got a big paycheck because of how well the UFC did in 2019. It was a very good year for them. I'm just saying, man, he basically was clearly motivated beyond basketball. He had a quote during the interview he had where he said something like, if basketball is the most important thing, fast forward 20 years from now that I've done, I failed. You know what I'm saying? If that don't inspire you, my nigga, think about how easy it is to become comfortable in a situation, or just, you know what I'm saying, stagnant. The man was already accomplished, legacy, titles, championship, jersey in the like, he was already Kobe. That man could have walked around LA and ate free tacos for the rest of his goddamn life, my nigga. Okay? And got fat and watched his daughters play ball and just been Kobe. The nigga was still motivated, still had the same, my black mamba. This ain't cap either, like, cause I've been watching now at this point. He still really had that same mentality off the court, and was trying to, like, went and got an Oscar and did all these things, man. And all those other victims were also accomplished as well, you know. Obviously, Kobe's who we knew. So it's kind of hitting us a little harder. But when this happens, period, it's kind of like devastating. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm reading the newspaper and I see an article like this, and I don't know anybody on the helicopter, I'm gonna feel away. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to figure out how I want to segue into my next point. Yo, the Grammys is on some bullshit. Period, my nigga. Now, this the thing, right? People have been hearing this stuff for years. I know I have. About, let's take Kobe and his family and the people and the victims out of this temporarily, right? We're gonna put that to the side, right? Let's just focus on the Grammys real quick. Let's look at the Grammys. Let's look at the fact that every fucking time that the Grammys rolls into town, somebody either dies, a disease pops. Like, we have to acknowledge the fact that the Grammys is demonic, my nigga. Now, at the end of the day, it's hard to even, like, I don't even want to, like, I must say, though, that was one of the first things I said out loud. Damn, it's the Grammys today. Because it's not a coincidence that every fucking time the Grammys comes into town, some weird shit is happening, bro. You're not telling me that there's not some kind of, I don't know, bro. I don't know at the end of the day. But I do know that it's not just a coincidence at a certain point when you keep seeing things trending. The day of Kobe Bryant's death, the morning of his death, the Grammys is taking place at the Staples Center that same night, my nigga. Then they got his jerseys hanging up over the Grammy shirt. Like, that shit was nasty, my nigga. They should have canceled the Grammys, bro. That's really how I felt. It just seemed weird. That was just eerie as fuck to me. And that was one of the first things I did say to myself, like, damn. Like I said, man, show me another. That's why the reports and things like that are so important to me. But when the report comes out and they basically, like, we don't know what the fuck happened, then it's kind of like, all right, now I gotta go back to that Grammy shit. Because the helicopter, we know for a fact, it's reported and documented, there was no malfunction on the helicopter. Even if a helicopter's propellers spin off of the fucking chopper somehow, from my understanding, a helicopter is still, there's mechanisms and ways for helicopters to just come down gracefully. That's why it's a fucking chopper, my nigga. It does what it wants. It goes up, down, left, right. There is no limitations to a helicopter, like the direction a helicopter could go in. So it just, I don't understand spatial disorientation. If that's the case, let's just say that is the case, right? He was high on clouds, right? That wasn't funny, but he was disoriented. Let's just say that was the case. What are we waiting a year for? What other findings do we need in a report? Was he disoriented or not? You know what I'm saying? And if that was the case, that's my question to NTSB. Because I'm about to email these niggas in a second, bruh. If a pilot becomes disoriented due to spatial disorientation, right? I would assume there's instances where this has happened previously, right? There has to be several cases where pilots have experienced this spatial disorientation shit, right? My question would be, when this happens to a pilot, are there instances where the pilots come out of it and land safely? And if that's the case, how is that documented on file? Also, I want to know the history of this pilot and how many times he's been disoriented in the sky, my nigga. Because if this is the first time that this ever happened to him, that's suspect. If this is a third or fourth or fifth time this shit has happened to him, I want to know what the results were. You see what I'm going with this? Like, I need to hear more about this pilot's history and this spatial disorientation and how this usually ends for pilots. Because like I said, man, I'm not necessarily out here like looking for chopper crashes and nothing like that. I don't research this shit. But at the same time, I've never necessarily heard or seen anything like this as far as just the magnitude of this, man. You're carrying a crew of people to a basketball game, bro. There's no time for anything slick. We not going up over the clouds to dive back down. That doesn't seem like something that an experienced veteran pilot, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just, I don't know, man. It seemed like it would be completely out of character from my point of view. And if that's the case, then he killed them. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's really what I'm getting to. Like, you took a risk and tried to do something crazy and crashed, or you just was completely disoriented and did he lose control of it? Like, what the fuck is it, my nigga? Unfortunately, we don't know. And these niggas is talking about they need a year. I think I figured it out the day of, personally, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of the fact, what's done is done. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, man, Gayle King. So, this the thing, right? I think I publicly already made my... I think I was ahead of this too. You know what I'm saying? You could probably go back to one of my previous videos. Oh yeah, it was the R. Kelly Gayle King interview. My thoughts and opinions about Gayle King are documented already, basically, right? As well as Oprah Winfrey. I already kind of seen this coming as far as the way they're being positioned as the two kind of lead black female anchors as far as when it comes to when we need to expose another black man or a black woman or whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, they're being used, right? It's not the first time we've seen that happen, though, and it's not going to be the last. I don't really care about Gayle King at this point. Obviously, she works for CBS. CBS is a corporation. They have an agenda. Anybody that works for a corporation, you go to work every day mad at people, and like you don't want to do certain things, and it's kind of just like that's the status quo. We already know how that goes. You know what I'm saying? A nigga like me is gonna get fired personally. Especially when it comes to like my morals and things that I stand firm on. You're not gonna just get me to just do any and everything. You feel me? she had to make a choice. At the end of the day, she did what like she felt like she had to do. Apparently, according to her, though, in all fairness, it was an edited. Obviously the interview came out with her and Lisa Leslie, and I didn't see the whole interview yet. I seen the clip that everybody else seen. But honestly, fuck that. Who cares? And I think I really want to say this about that. Why are we, like, I just hate the fact that they didn't even have a funeral for Kobe yet. You feel me? His daughter and things like that. It's like, we can't possibly be, like, speaking about Gayle King right now. It basically is all I want to say, man. Like, we're not going to put Gayle King over this situation. And obviously we tight, because Kobe passed, his daughter passed, and this shit was so fucked up, or whatever the case may be. And it's kind of just like, yo, we need something to take this anger on. You know what I'm saying? We need somebody to beat up on, kind of thing. Like, and she was perfect, like, to be honest. The way she just was, like, so, like, kind of robotic in her questioning. Like, she didn't really, there was no emotional attachment to the situation. I think that's what everybody's kind of looking at it like, damn, you ain't feel that? But from her perspective, she got a job to do, and I just wanted to say, man, like, at the end of the day, my nigga, we not gonna that's minute in the grand scheme of this. You know what I'm saying? The fact that we even bringing her name up right now and attaching it to Kobe is nasty. So obviously they never interviewed Kobe, and that's probably for a reason. Kobe probably ain't want to fucking interview with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they probably reached out. Nigga, like, fuck, I'm over here with my daughter, nigga. Yeah, feel me? I'm sure he ain't say the N-word, but y'all know what the fuck I'm talking about. But that's pretty much, man, listen. I say all that to say this, man. If I die in a helicopter crash, just know, nigga, it was the Grammy. Nah. Want some real shit, though? Let's stop it.